started. Let me move that one up here. And hello. How is everybody doing? How's life? How's yours? How's your week been? What's everybody been up to? Let me move that. Might move that a little bit. Yeah, sure. Hello. How is everybody? Oh yeah, sorry. I always forget to close Thunderbird, but it makes an awful racket, and you're listening to my speakers, so I'm sorry. Hello. How's everybody doing? How's things? Me just make sure. Apparently I need to update my graphics driver. Whoops. I'll do that later. Hello. Hello Ish, how you doing, man? How's things? And hello the 5 other people who are currently watching. How's things? I have been busy. Very busy. All of my own doing. Hello John, how you doing, man? How's things? I've also been ill. Again. Still. Yeah, now I'm... When aren't I? Hello Chris, how you doing, man? How's things? Are you You're a standard moderator. Like, YouTube told me that there's a new kind of moderator. Finally gave up on the white shirt. No, it's just in the wash, actually. And has been since, what do you call it? Since the SMT day, because we don't do whitewashes very often. Somehow ended up with fish fingers for dinner tonight. Fair play. And yeah. Yeah, it just, this was clean and available. So I'm using that for now. At some point I will find, the white one again and wear that. Thanks, John. What is that? A little bit of fluff or something? Yeah. Ease an entire loaf of garlic bread. Well, whatever works. Did I get it? No, it's still there. Nope, it's still there. Wow, this is really great stream material. I'm glad that we're really making engaging content. No wonder people don't watch this shit. There we go. Canal. Anyway, hello Simon. How you doing? How's things? I've been busy. Here's the thing I made. Look at that stick out. Look at that little dome. Here's the other side of it on the cleaner one that I haven't loaded already. Big chip. It's actually the same chip that I've been using previously. It's still a SAMD 51. It's just a larger package version. In fact, actually, so this is a test version of the Pro CS, and this is Expert. See the microcontroller difference? Same chip, same silicon, same clock speed actually, but this one has an external clock. It has the larger chip. That is a 1 megasample per second external analog to digital converter. What would be here and what is here on the other one is a bunch of XOR flash. And that is a very fancy photodiode. It is a Thorlabs FSD 100. In a SOT5 socket, so I can actually pull that out if I wanted. These little sockets. So yeah, I've been busy. I also have... Hold on. Hold it right. This little boy. This is a potentially new version of OS LTT as well, with 3-pin headers. Ooh, and that little chip there is a switch chip to change selectable gain. There's also those two little slots there. If you move that resistor, 0 resistor from the 4P to 3P that's next to it, that changes this from a 3-pole into a 4-pole, or actually from a 4-pole into a 3-pole. I'm yet to test this one, but yeah. Fancy, eh? And I've moved it from a... Do I have one out? Actually, hold on. I have them in a bag down here. I moved it from this to this. So I've gone from a Seed Studio microcontroller board to building it myself with the clock and everything. And which hand? 3-pin instead of 2-pin. Yeah. This is OS LTT. This is OS RTT Expert. Ta-da. Yeah. So yeah, I have been busy. I've been making them work actually, which has been difficult. One of the main, so let me give you a bit of background. This is essentially meant to be the like lab grade version of the response time tool. It is not only using a sort of proper photodiode, like a very fancy photodiode, but it's also using a more precision op amp, which is that one there. And it's also using an external analog to digital converter. And the importance of that is that while this chip has actually two 12-bit 1 megasample per second analog to digital converters on board, analog to digital converters that are in microcontrollers are just inherently noisy because they're busy being a microcontroller and they're not overly well isolated. So you can use an external analog to digital converter to capture the data and turn it into, you know, the digital data we need to actually read and process. And that means that it's way more stable. And it also means that it's faster. So that is a 16-bit 1 megasample per second analog to digital converter. And what that means is I get better resolution, better stability. It's actually a lot more linear, which is good. And it's just generally a much better tool. And I'm very happy and I'm very excited to make it work. But yeah. Hello, Joe. How you doing, man? How's things? I like your funny words, magic person. Dudes, I'm all alone here on Twitch. You too could have two Andys by dual watching. That sounds like my nightmare fuel, but hey, if it works for you, no problem. But damn AIs. Not on this. No. This is a single core ARM Cortex M4 Plus. There is AI on the edge, but no. Also no. Joe, how you doing? I'm sick as a dog with a chest infection and man flu. Fair. Not fair, obviously, but how am I? Sure. The blood has returned. I've started taking the medication that I may or may not be on for the rest of my life, which is weird granule things. mesalazine or something. Anyway, so we'll see. Um, I've been really quite depressed this week, partially because I accidentally started 3 quite large projects all at once, which is this, and so I've been trying to convince my wife to buy a new car for probably about a year now, give or take. Um, she wanted to be able to go and see her family more often, and her family are 130 miles away or so. And so the little Mini that she drives isn't exactly the best experience to do that in. So slowly getting her up to speed on that. And then basically what I wanted to do was buy a like mid 2000s Audi A3, the 2-liter TDI with the automatic, like the 6-speed DSG gearbox, and it had to have cruise control. Those were the like key things I was looking for. And it turns out that one turned up on Auto Trader for £1,500, admittedly with 150,000 miles, but the 2-liter TDI can happily run for like 400,000 miles. And even if that specific one can, I can buy a wrecker one for 500, and who cares? So we went and had a look, and it turned out that besides the interior was pretty moldy and stanky, it was all actually pretty decent. The engine looked great, like it drove well, the gearbox was as smooth as that 6-speed DSG ever was. It was fine. Needs basically a whole new interior, but for 1,500 quid, that's like not far off scrap value, so why not, right? So we bought that, and then I was like, do you know what? What I really need is some parts. Like I need basically an interior. And so I messaged a few people on Marketplace, and one guy got back and said, you can have the whole car for 350. I'm also a recovery specialist, so I can come and drop the car off with you today. So I went to the cash machine, and so I now own 2 Audi A3s. One of which has a horrible interior, and one of which doesn't start because the engine blew up. So yeah, and so I then what was it, like Tuesday evening? Me and my friend Dan pulled basically all of the interior out of the wrecker one, and we're going to be cleaning the interior and then swapping it into the one that we got, yeah, and then oh, I got a the only engine problem part is it's actually this throttle body valve, which diesels really don't need, but Audi decided, well, VW decided they do. When this seizes, because it's a diesel and it will always seize, especially because it's right next to the exhaust gas recirculation valve, this blows the fuse that controls the engine cooling fan as well, and possibly the windows, I'm not sure. So I bought a replacement motor, which came with a replacement EGR valve as well, which is even better. And yeah, that's the only engine problem I need to fix. Although we specifically bought the A3s and didn't sell the Mini, so she's still driving the Mini, which means that I can work on the A3s in my own time, and I can I can then basically just swap her over, like swap it over on her insurance, tax it, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, then we'll have a nice ready to go car. And so I'm gonna do the timing belt on the 2-liter TDI, Because why not? If I have the chance to do it and I have the time to do it, it makes sense to do it. So I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So yeah, I've been busy. How much will it cost later to wreck the wrecker? Uh, I will be paid for that car. Uh, Depends how much stuff we end up taking, like actually taking out, because my plan is basically to just swap the interiors. So the wrecker car will become probably not put together. Like I'll bolt the seat down, I'll put the carpet back in roughly the right place, but um, I like it will be a complete car. It just won't be together, which the wrecker wouldn't mind anyway. And so like the engine will be staying there because it's a blown 1.6 petrol. So who cares? And so I should be paid 250-ish for it. And considering that I got a bunch of parts out of it, but basically it's fine. Does the wrecker have fewer miles? Swap the odometer. Well, what's funny is that I am actually swapping the gauge cluster over, but the odometer, it's all digital, so that wouldn't work. But yeah, uh, yeah, yeah. No, a full interior like carpet, which is 100 quid on eBay already. Both seats, which are 50, 100 quid each. All of the interior plastics. We're actually the wrecker car has like basically black center console and that but like kick panels and glove box and rear interior panels as well and door cards. We need a new door card and they're 100 quid each anyway. So I'm probably gonna get 600-700 pounds worth of parts out of this car, and it's only going to cost me maybe 100. Even if it costs me the full 350, like even if I can't find a wrecker to pay me for an entire car as scrap value, which would be insane. But even if it only cost me the full value that I paid for the car, that's still a significant discount to buying all of the parts individually. So, yeah, profit. Fluid reservoirs aren't a bad idea, actually. Yeah, I I I could do with a replacement coolant bottle for my S4 because I keep you have to take the spark plugs out. You need to lift it up, lift the coolant bottle out of the way because they stuck the biggest engine they could fit in that hole. Um, and so yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but yeah, good idea. I've when this motor blows, it blows the fuse. So I've already stolen the fuse for this one out of the donor car. The Clio needs a new window washer reservoir, runs out every 1 to 2 months. Is that not just from use, though? Could have made the A3 Super Leggero by stripping the interior. Oh dear. Wouldn't it be cheaper and more spacious and basically the same thing to get the DSG Passat? So technically yes, but she does the whole point is that she doesn't want a large car. She likes the Mini for how small it is. The A3 we specifically got the 3-door version so that it's a touch smaller, and it's basically as compact as it can be while still being a good drive. So uh, for someone like me, yes, I would rather have probably the estate Passat instead. Um, but uh, for her priorities, the smaller the car, the better, the more comfortable she is driving it. So yeah. What's the legal process to get rid of what's left of the unusable car in the UK? You sell it to a scrapper and you be careful to not show you the wrong side. This is a V5C. This is the bottom of a V5C. This is the car registration document. So this tells you all of the information about it, who currently owns it, all that sort of stuff, and you basically write to it and say that you are scrapping it. Can't remember where the bit is. Yeah, you basically just tell them that you're scrapping it, and that's it. We've actually we fixed we partially fixed a 2-liter TDI Audi A4 in 2019, 2020. And then we scrapped it because we couldn't get it working properly. So we parted it out, and we ended up not losing much money on it, and it was a learning experience because it means that I have rebuilt the engine that is in Amy's car fully. And so I know how to take it apart. I know how to time it. We actually have the timing tools already, and I know what goes wrong with them, how to fix it, and all that jazz. So yeah, I have deep experience with this engine. Although admittedly it was the other way around, so the timing job was easier, but it'll be fine. You don't have to take the papers to an MOT station, or have you? No, so there are no MOT stations as such. The MOT test, which is kind of it's one of those like rip in peace. MOT stands for Ministry of Transport, but colloquially in the UK, the getting your car MOT'd is the name for getting it tested to the Ministry of Transport standardized test. Anyway, point is, you got to do that after the car's 3 years old. It has to be done every year. But those tests are performed. As it says, the network of authorized testers. So basically, it's all private companies who have been like applied to be an MOT tester. It's a source of guaranteed work for them, basically, and there's also essentially some incentives for them to do the tests, to find things that are wrong, to then basically have a captive audience. Like, technically speaking, if a a tester finds something wrong with your car such that you fail the test, there are a couple of sets of like brackets. So there are well, it used to be minors and majors, or advisories and not and major defects. There's actually three. There's minors or advisories which don't fail the test, but are things that they record publicly to say, hey, this might be a problem. You should get addressed soon. There are major defects which are caused to fail the test. However, you can still leave. Like, you can still go, okay, thanks very much, and then drive the car away to go and get that fixed somewhere else. But then there are like the dangerous things, where if you have a dangerous failure, they are not allowed to let you leave with the car until those major things, like those dangerous things, are fixed. And so technically speaking, there is a captive audience for those things. And obviously, generally speaking, most people aren't people like me who are willing to fix, like go and buy a new brake caliper at 7 p.m. from Eurocar Parts, and then fit it just to have a new caliper ready for the MOT test, or the retest the next day. But yeah, so that's how the MOT works. But no, in short, all vehicle ownership is basically just done online now. I applied for that V5C, like the previous owner of the wrecker car gave me the V5C. I then used that to fill it in and say, yes, I've sold the car. They then sent me the new V5C within 3 days, which is impressive for the government. And yeah, now I own that car according to the government, and it will be. But once I'm done with it, I can then either give that V5C to the wrecker that I'm selling it to, or I can register online as a sold car, or written off scrapped car. So yeah. Uh, John, so yes and no. It's you, I can definitely see certain people how that can be a bad situation, and I'm sure that some people do, let's say, take advantage of their position there. However, the Ministry of Transport can revoke their access to provide MOTs or MOT certificates. So basically, if you are caught doing that, you will no longer be allowed to do like provide MOT certificates, which would be quite a bad thing for a garage to lose. Um, so yeah. Yeah, here the bastards want you to take the contract signed by both parties to the MOT station equivalent and charge you various taxes, etc., to give you the papers. Ah, okay, now. The government collects no direct money for you buying or selling cars here. The only thing that happens is the road tax, which has actually changed such that if you were to buy a car, tax it, like, pay for a full year's worth of road tax, and then sell it the next week, you would get 51 weeks worth of that payment back. So if you paid £100 for road tax, whatever, you would get back, I don't know, 95 quid or whatever. 90, I don't know, however much a week off would be. And then the new buyer has to pay the road tax, basically. Which reminds me, I need to register the. Technically, I need to register both of them as off the road. For now. Called SORN, SORN. Statutory off-road notice. Yeah. Good luck, John. We're not exactly hospitable here. Tech question. Since this half laptop is Thunderbolt 4 with PCIe pass-through, can I technically hook up a 4090 to this thing? Yeah. As long as it does actually have proper PCIe pass-through, I see no reason why not to. On the Mazda, when it's out of washer fluid, it reminds you every 11 seconds after you dismiss the message, and when on a 40-mile drive home. That's really bloody annoying. Mine will just pop up on startup. That's it. So unlucky. Oh yeah, 2-core 4-thread 4090 gaming time. Well, you'd have to have a 4090 first. Not like the US of A where they need to go to the DMV and wait and wait and wait and whatever to register plates / cars. Yeah, no, like pretty much everything's done online and remarkably efficient, which is insane for Britain. God's sake. Oh, bad. Tech question, what do you think about the Windows spying brackets Copilot thing, and why is it bad and you hate it? Nice leading question there. I mean, you're right, I do. So, some context, I'm sure most of you know by now. Microsoft have, well, backtracked, but initially they introduced Copilot Plus, which is their it's ChatGPT built into your desktop in the most annoying way possible. However, they wanted to upgrade that experience, and they created a feature called Recall, which would take a screenshot of your desktop, like of your monitor, every 5 seconds, and then it would store that information locally, and then it would use that to train AI data and probably send the screenshots to Microsoft as well. Something, it wasn't secure in any way possible. Something, it's just a horrible idea. It was going to be on by default. It's now off by default. And, yeah, it's, it's real bad. Realistically, Microsoft has been doing a lot of things that make the user base not trust them, and then they keep doing more things, makes the user base not trust them. And they haven't seemed to have gotten the hint yet. Oh, yeah. By the way, Linus just released a video about AI and basically summarized my opinion on it. Just all polite Canadian like. Where? What's the TLDW on it? But yeah, recall is a really bad idea, and if you ever have a Windows 11 Copilot Plus PC, don't enable it for your own safety and for everyone around you's safety. You know, it's like wearing a seatbelt. Just wear it, and don't let Microsoft sell you a fake seatbelt. I don't know what I'm getting at. This is a bad analogy. Oh yes, Deep Cool. Essentially showed some rather interesting information on the old Discord server earlier. Taito says, "Oh, AI is a lie." I mean, yes, AI is mostly just new age slave labor to categorize existing content and copyright infringement for stealing the content in the first place. So yeah. What was it? Deep Cool supply over $1 million worth of like arms related equipment, CHPL items, to Russia. Specifically, CHPL are basically either like computer like electronic systems for weapons, or are just straight weapons. And Deep Cool are selling that to Russia from China. So there's going to be some sanctions there, methinks. It's not actually a bad take, just not all entertainment video like most stuff from LTT, although there's anything wrong with that. Fair? That's nice. I'll admit that I haven't watched an LTT video in quite a while. No, they're already sanctioned. Ah, I see. Does that mean that you can't? I mean, I assume existing stock will. They're not allowed to do business in the US anymore. But I assume existing stock would be fine. It's just they are not. You won't be getting any support for any products, I guess. Yeah. It's a shame because they make some cool stuff. You could say deeply cool stuff. I'll shut up. Hello, DT. I'm hyped for DisplayPort cables with built-in AI. Oh god. Don't tempt them. They will. Well, isn't there like upscaling cables and stuff that do actually have not AI but have upscaling tech built in? NATO countries will probably follow with the sanctions, so it's probably over for Deep Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. That's interesting. Oh, it's swapped back to top chat. That's annoying. Live chat. Show me all the messages. God damn it. Yeah, that probably. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that the like between China and Russia, there's probably a decent market for them there still, but yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of YouTube tech channels that have some great videos on the overuse of AI at Computex. Yeah, I mean, literally everything is AI at the moment. It is the buzzword for sure, and a lot of it does feel like It is a product in search of a problem. But I guess we'll see. I said in the Harbor Busters Discord, I wouldn't be surprised if Deep Coal dissolves and suddenly a new company with the exact same molds pop up. I mean, I wouldn't be that surprised. Yeah. Especially if it is from China, that wouldn't be the first time that practice would be engaged upon. And a different shell company. Yeah. I guess if we talk much about the Shallow the stuff from Computex, because I'm planning on doing a video or two about Intel and AMD's upcoming chips. Kind of what they talked about at Computex. But yeah, everything. Yeah, AI RAM, AI cases, AI storage. That's kind of like that's one of the hallmarks that it's a bubble, right? Because first of all, none of those things are AI. And second of all, the fact that everyone is really rushing to just put the word there without anything substantive behind it shows that it is hype and nothing else. I think there are certainly some good use cases for what we call artificial intelligence, large language models, and what you call it, deep learning and machine learning, neural networks, those sorts of things. Things like image processing, and even like the rare stuff, like the stuff where it's in scientific research when you're looking for like a specific cancer protein or something, where you can train it on a bunch of data that we know about already, and then go, okay, find it here. And in a lot of the cases, it can use parts of the image or the data or whatever that we wouldn't even consider as relevant, but ends up being useful. So stuff like that are what you call it, like a really cool use case for, like, I don't know, controlling the fans in your PC. You can just write some normal software for that. It doesn't need to be AI. You hear me, Gigabyte? It's really funny having tested that AI laptop from Gigabyte, and it like the only AI thing was a bad version of Stable Diffusion. Like, come on. There's a conflux of Steves, and both of them released videos talking to each other about Computex. I watched some of both of them. Yes. Well, they were mostly talking about Intel, AMD, and Nvidia on that one, but yeah. Oh dear. Same old thing, new AI label, indeed. Enimax is possibly releasing one of the dumbest PSUs of all time. The Splave line of PSUs will have no residual power, which will destroy infrastructure with the inrush current. Wait, so what are they doing with the Splave line of power supplies? I want my RGB LEDs to be AI assisted, so they change color with my emotions in game. It will always be anger red when playing any FPS game. Again, you don't need AI for that. You'll just set them to red. Or, you know, maybe when you get a kill, it just like briefly flashes green before back to red again because you get killed immediately. Hello Richard, how you doing, man? Uh, with perhaps the exceptions of Nvidia and AMD GPUs, AI is just a marketing thing now. There are all sorts of products that have AI on them that aren't using trained/learning models at all. Yeah, I mean that's been the thing for a while. AI was a big marketing gimmick a couple of like generations ago on phones. Like every camera was an AI camera, despite a lot of them not having any sort of machine learning, you know, models or anything like that. It was just normal filters, whatever. That has then bled over into the uh yeah, everything in tech market. And so yeah. Don't Apple's charging cables have almost enough processing power to run AI? Uh, no, but you're not far off. Um, well, there's also like what run AI means because you can train a like 3 parameter model and literally any like a 10-cent microcontroller could run that model, right? But it depends what model it is and useful model. I bought a BenQ Mobius EX3210U 4K gaming monitor. Any thoughts? Uh, did I review that one? Because that one is a BenQ, although I don't think it's a Mobius. I think it's an EX, but it's 60 hertz. And it's also 27-inch 4K. So maybe if I reviewed it, I will have some thoughts on it in the video. Generally speaking, I mean, just from looking at the specs there, so it's not a 1 millisecond monitor. It's just not. It's probably like 8. That's probably fine. HDMI 2.1, great. 32-inch IPS, 144 hertz, pretty decent. HDR 600, also pretty decent for being that sort of class. It's probably going to be well, kind of difficult to run. You have a 3070 Ti, which is actually probably okay. You're not going to be running it ultra, but for a lot of games, that's fine. I'm sure, yeah, probably pretty decent. If I've reviewed it, which actually I don't think I have, then you will have more detailed thoughts and analysis. But off the top of my head, decent. It seems to me that the buzzword AI is being used to push surveillance onto normies. Well, the thing with AI is that it's all just, you could reasonably call it just like big data, like large scale computing. It's just taking a bitload of data, running some processing on it to figure out patterns, and then applying those patterns to new data later. That's all, you know, neural networks are. And that requires you to have all of that data in the first place. And actually, the worst part is that it requires you to tag that data. It's required to be able to train the AI. It has to know, you know, this is a picture of a cat. This is a picture of a fire hydrant. This is a picture of a zebra crossing. This is a picture of a traffic light. You know that thing that Google's been doing as part of security for like 10 years? But the oh dear, the real trick is that a lot of training data, especially scraped training data, which you could argue was illegally collected, is then handed off to essentially modern day slave labor, to then tag that data to then be able to use it in a training set. If you ask anyone, including OpenAI, Google, all those people, how they got their data tagged, they will say, oh, well, we got it from this company. And if you ask that company, they'll go, oh, we got it from this company. And eventually when you get to the bottom of the chain, you find out that they paid basically next to nothing for thousands of hours of work from thousands of individuals on normally, I can't remember what it's called, but Amazon, like AWS, has a platform for it. I think Google might have a platform for it. Yeah. Not really talking about real LLMs, AI, etc. development, but just slap AI on stuff and collect data from people who will buy it / download it. Yes, I didn't get to that part of my point. The part of my point that I was going for is basically that while, like, even currently, if you get like even currently, if it's not real AI, they're still collecting that data to then use later. But point is, yes, you're right. Data is the new payment source. It's irrelevant from OLRs. How much of the difference in response time does the positioning of the measuring device have? Top left as opposed to bottom right, etc. So the response time shouldn't change, no matter where you put it. The difference is that monitors draw top to bottom, so the latency is technically different at the top of the frame compared to the bottom. It doesn't really make that much of a difference to your user experience, but the response time is how quickly the pixels change color, and that should be uniform across the panel. If it's not, then you have a problem with the panel, and yeah. Yeah. Response times mostly affect how crisp the image is, especially between frames. So, yeah. What's the latency difference? It's the refresh rate. Generally, it draws vertically at the refresh rate. That's what the refresh rate is. It's how long it takes to draw the frame and then start the next one. Some monitors are better about it. Some will draw it in less time and then sample and hold. Some will just cycle. It depends how fast the scaler is and how fast the panel is. Yeah. Yes, John. What would you call it? Is there a standard place to measure? Generally in the center of the display, because that's where you're looking, that's where your cursor is, that's where actions happen. So generally speaking, at the center. 8 millisecond doesn't bother me. I'm 51 millisecond not needed. So first of all, fair enough. Second of all, response times are a measure of how quick the panel can change the color of the panel. And basically, the lower the response time, the smoother it will look to your eye, the less blurry it will look, especially in motion. So if you're moving around on screen, whatever, a faster monitor will look sharper. It will look crisper, and it will be generally easier to use to play games on, to view. There is still a benefit regardless of your advanced stage. Sorry, I can't help it. Regardless of your age, there is still a benefit to having a faster display. In the same way that there's still a benefit to having a higher refresh rate, it's about the smoothness of the motion, and technically the latency as well. Now available new AI-powered ink and ink pen paper. I've got the AI right here. Actually, here I'm left-handed. HCAP's so brazen with it, they pay websites to use it. Oh dear, yeah. It is more important if you are playing esports games, but it's still a useful metric. However, 144 doesn't look as smooth as advertised to me. Still going back to 60 looks significantly worse. Yeah, I mean, it depends on your perception and whatnot, but yeah, 144. I have been spoiled, and so I prefer 165 or so. You know, for just like word processing, wherever it doesn't really matter. But for anything gaming related, the higher the refresh rate, the better. Even though you can't visually see the difference. Yes, it's also a lot more obvious as you go back down again. A lot more obvious. DT, two things, Andy. First, congrats on 100k, and second, congrats on the upcoming house purchase. Thank you very much. On the house purchase front, I fit a roadblock in the mortgage advisor, mortgage valuer came round, and then said, "Oh, we can't. I can't value the house. You've got cracks in it. You need a structural engineer." He left before he told me that. So I then sent them the structural engineer's report, and then they came back and said, "Oh yeah, well we need the structural engineer to give us accurate price estimates for the repair work, which isn't a structural engineer's job. They're the engineer, not a builder." And I tried to get builders quotes at the time, but they all ghosted me because it's the summer season, it's the building season, and they're all busy working. So I'm now having to pay the structural engineer extra to go out and find accurate quotes to then come back and get a mortgage. The jotting sums down on the iPad and it's spitting out answers is fairly useful for me. I see we're talking AI. Yeah, there are definitely some useful features that are implemented in various things that may or may not be AI. Like optical character recognition is actually a fairly decent use of a neural network, because you can train it on not only like specific, not only generalized handwriting, but specific like personal handwriting. And so yeah, like stuff like that's great. Text to speech, yeah, that's gotten a lot better too. I keep seeing people complaining about AI narration in YouTube videos, but it sounds real to me. Are they paranoid? Usually sounds robotic in text to speech. So text to speech has improved a lot, as Ish says. And for something, if you're using something like 11 Labs TTS, it can be insane. You can definitely catch it in certain places, but it is definitely getting better. And yeah, I think when people are complaining about it, I don't think that they're necessarily complaining that at the like the sound quality or the like readout quality, you know, whatever. They're talking about, or that they're angry that you generally get essentially low effort content. You get people doing like terrible movie recaps where they're just like, you know, saying the most basic stuff about a film, like that you could have watched. uh, and so you're getting low effort, factually incorrect, clickbait, like crap. That's, I think, why people are more mad about AI content than the straight like quality. Nice one, Simon. um Don't get me wrong, some of the stuff's very useful to some people, not me, but problem with is the bloody terminology. It's all marketing because they know what you think of when you hear AI. Yeah. Yeah, slapdash, yeah. Low effort clickbait crap. Um, rather than something that someone has put some time and effort into. You know, like my videos. Oh dear. Like reading a Wikipedia page. Yeah, I mean, turns out that there are humans who do that too, but yes, very much. Um, the AI has even nailed emotion in some contexts too, which makes it even more believable. There are still points that are clearly non-human, but it's impressive the improvements in such a short time. Definitely, definitely. I'm spoiled as I got to use my 500Hz Asus 1080p monitor. The color is bleh, if not straight on, as well as viewing angles. So going back to 165Hz IPS on FPS seems slow, but it's great. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm regularly using 240, sometimes 300, 360Hz displays, but the thing is that if you then go to a lower hertz OLED, it balances out because you've got instant response time, so it feels like a smoother display than uh, a comparably uh, fast IPS. The AI voices are great for non-English natives. Like, I've noticed people would rather watch an American or English accent than Dutch or German. Interesting. It's burn-in anxiety that's keeping me away from OLED just yet. So I've talked about this before. So I have a QD OLED as my primary display. It's the Philips Evnia 8600, the 34 M2C 8600, and QD OLEDs for me are feel very much like sort of next gen, like the one to get tech. I have used this for, I don't know, probably 6 months at this point, if not maybe more, with zero sign of burn-in. Technically speaking, I'm a bit pedantic about it. My screensaver turns off all three screens after 3 minutes. That's partially because I want to save the OLED, and that's partially because it's a bit of a ADHD hack. Because if the screen turns off, then it means that I've been staring at my phone for too long, and it kind of helps prompt me to like stop staring at my phone and start doing work again. But I don't have it like it does the mini refreshes every day, basically, like every night. But other than that, it's never done a major refresh. And yeah, there's still no burn-in at all. And yeah, it really is. Really does feel like sort of the one to get, basically. Flips the narrative around literally, and AI is also very good at reading and understanding spoken language and emotion, almost instantly on the spot sometimes. That's true. Yeah. Like I said, there are definitely very good use cases for what we call AI, for sure. Uh, it's just it's somewhat kind of ruined by the swath of fakes. um, but yeah, OLED is just too expensive for me at twice the price. Mixed opinions on burn-in. Yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that I didn't pay for this display gives me a somewhat biased opinion essentially, but if you are what do you call it? If you were in the market for one, then I would recommend it. Hello, Jim. How you doing? Nice things. I am and I'm not. Yeah. I need to sell my kidney to get something to run 144 pictures per second. What are you even using to run 500? Well, a lot of esports games, even on middling hardware, will do 3, 4, 500 FPS. So yeah, if I'm buying a monitor, I'm buying a 1440p QD OLED. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Maybe old school, but I'd rather hear a real human and see them on screen struggle a bit through the narration than hear an AI do it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not using AI for replacing my face anytime soon. um, so yeah. Oh, and I'm getting a Citroen E-Space Tourer 9-seater van. They finally brought out a new model with 324 miles of range. It's not cheap, but the last big bus with a proper battery. Very happy. Nice. Good. You'll have to let us know how it goes. As soon as I got a call about it, I cancelled the jogger instantly. Fair. Yeah, fair. Prove that you're not an AI facsimile. How? Uh, I don't know. Do you really think that I would go to all of the effort and still look like this? Still have a terrible scruffy beard. The only AI feature I've been using is clearer voices in movies. Some movies are mixed so terribly. Fair, yeah. I don't have any AI tools regularly in use, but yeah. Hello, Luca. Goodbye, Luca. Flawed creations are the best, and you're the very best. Very flawed. Oh, my back. Aren't you still generating your things? No. I haven't. I don't use generative AI much, if at all. Occasionally, I use Google Gemini to uh give me some title ideas. Because I've never been good at that anyway. Um, but I think I've probably used that like twice in the last 2 months. Yeah. And Essentialist, is there a VLC plugin for that? John asks. Dear, I'm not well. Oh no. Oh dear. Well, it looks like my body knows when it's time to go. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm gonna head off now. Uh, ow. Hope you all have a nice week. Hope you all stay safe and have fun. I will be back next week as usual, and videos tomorrow, Monday. And yeah, I'll catch you then. Bye. Oh. Come on, end the stream.